Building an emergency fund is an essential step in personal financial planning. This is the fund that you set aside from your savings to cover any unexpected financial dilemma resulting from a personal crisis. A crisis can happen to anyone. You may suddenly lose your job or face an unexpected illness or accident. It may also be a national emergency crisis, such as the current coronavirus pandemic, that may require you to temporarily shell out cash outlays to sustain your expenses for the next few months. Having an emergency fund is having peace of mind. The purpose of building a fund is to improve your financial security. How do you get started in building your emergency fund? Here are the 5 steps everyone should learn when saving money for emergency use. Number 1. Decide how much you need. Standard recommendation by financial planners is to have an emergency fund that can cover at least 3 months of living expenses. For example, if your monthly expenses amount to 50,000 pesos, you need to build up your savings up to 150,000 pesos as your standby fund. However, given the uncertainty of emergency needs and arising costs of services, 3 months may not be enough to sustain your financial shortfalls. You may need to increase it to at least 6 months' worth of living expenses to have a comfortable buffer fund. Number 2. Decide how to allocate savings. Most people will spend the moment they receive their paycheck and save later. Very often, there is almost nothing left to save by the time the month has ended. When you decide to save, make the commitment to pay yourself first. Set aside a portion of your monthly income, let's say 10%, before you spend the balance for your personal expenses. To make sure that your savings are intact, you can open a separate bank account just for this purpose. Number 3. Decide how to invest the fund. The objective of saving is accumulating enough money to enable you to invest. When you have enough savings in your bank account, you can invest it in order to grow. Keeping all your money in the bank will not do you any good because the returns are negligible. You need to make your money work for you at the best returns possible. Because this is an emergency fund which you may need to terminate anytime, you can invest it with short-term time horizon. Number 4. Decide where to keep the fund. In principle, when you build your savings for your emergency fund, you must keep it in any investment vehicle that is low risk. You cannot afford to invest your emergency fund in a high-risk, high-return investment because you don't want to incur losses in the event that you badly need it. You must also make sure that you keep your funds in liquid investments. You must be able to easily access it and liquidate immediately in case of emergency. For example, choose money market funds that will allow you to discharge the next day without termination costs. Keeping some of your savings and preferred shares will also allow you to liquidate easily by selling your shares in the stock exchange anytime. And number 5. Decide how the fund will be used. If you have a sizable emergency fund, you can divide it according to short-term and long-term purposes. You can allocate a portion of the fund to take care of your small financial emergencies. In this case, you can keep the funds in low-risk, low-return, and easy-to-liquidate investments. You can make up the low returns by investing a portion of your emergency fund for larger financial needs. While accessibility is still important, this one may take a few more days to liquidate because of commitments with the bank. This type of investment earns relatively higher returns than the short-term funds. Stay tuned for more financial advice in the next episodes of Get That Coin.